Normally, all of our conversations happen right here at my grandmother's kitchen table. But today, to kick off season 3, we're doing something special. We are heading to a place where hope, encouragement, and inspiration is shared every day. We're heading to the set of the Portia Show. Portia is the host of Portia, a nationally distributed lifestyle show airing on Fox 5 Atlanta and Fox Soul. Her show focuses on faith, family, health, empowerment, and community. She has decades of experience in journalism and storytelling. And what I love most is the way she leads with resilience and heart. You can find more about her at portiashow.com. So today we're talking about voice and how you find your mothering voice. And going forward, my hope is to sit down with wise women who are ahead of me on the mothering game. And today I have Portia with me. And we're going to talk about what it looks like when your sons are entering that preteen age. She's going to tell me that motherly wisdom that we don't always ask for and we don't know that we need, but is freely given to us. Because without my mom, I'm so fortunate that God has blessed me with strong, powerful, smart women in my life. And then we're also going to talk about a time when her voice, her power was affected and how that also influenced how she mothered. So Portia, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so honored to be here.
So
Thank
glad
you,
you're
sis,
here.
for inviting me to have a seat at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. So start off, tell me about your voice, because you are ahead of me on the mothering game and you have raised 2 incredible sons. And so I want to celebrate them and celebrate the job you have done.
Thank you. And I thank you for the opportunity to do so, because I firmly believe that it truly takes a village. God blessed my husband and I with 2 incredible young little seeds who are growing into amazing young men. I wish I knew God at their age the way they do now. And so I've learned a lot about myself, about boys and men, obviously, and what it takes to create a space for boys to be boys. I firmly believe in this concept of sort of the mother's energy, the father's energy, grandpa, grandma. The village concept is really real for us. And it has been an all hands on deck, especially, in my line of work and the work that my husband does. Their father is a very hardworking entrepreneur as well. So I'm grateful that God saw fit to sort of orchestrate it in a space where grandparents could be involved. And really cool. Their friends have great parents.
Yeah.
And so that village concept is so important. So my 17-year-old son is a high school junior. He is, it's funny, talks a whole lot of trash like his mama and daddy. And is very protective. His nickname is Bear because he's an offensive lineman. He looks like a bear. He moves like a bear when we're in public. I've seen him give fellas the eye and be like, try it. Yeah. Try it. But he's also a very kind and gentle soul. The little boy that I remember who used to get upset if a bug was accidentally run over or a squirrel was accidentally run over or a bird was having a hard time, he would sit there and we need to fix this. We need to, and so to see the 6'2", 252-pound version of him, I'm sorry, he's 257 now. I get in trouble if I don't say all his pounds.
Right.
It warms my heart to see him so nurturing.
So gentle giant.
He really, truly is a gentle giant. And is getting ready for college and ACTs and SATs and, football, but really wants to major in psychology. So watching him while he's in recruiting phase, having these conversations about what he wants the rest of his life to look like just makes me go, thank you, God.
Yeah.
Thank
and
you,
that
God.
He has clear direction, is not just kind of floundering and trying things, but still figuring out who he is as a person.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
he
awesome.
really is. The things that he told me he was giving up for Lent, and I'll respect his privacy, made me recognize, you know what? I probably need to work on that too.
Don't you love when they all of a sudden say something and you're like, Oh, okay. That's a
Mm.
lesson for me.
Mommy's listening.
Yes.
Mommy's going to work on her mouth too.
Yeah.
You're right, right?
Yeah.
Because we're not perfect,
Right.
you know? And my 19-year-old, my firstborn, is a sophomore at Tuskegee
Mhm.
University. And it really, it's just hard to believe that somebody you took home from the hospital like this is 6'5" and looking down.
A little squish.
Yeah, ain't nothing little or squishy anymore. That joker is towering over me, but he still has those eyes. You know,
Mhm.
when you see the eyes of them, no matter how old they get, the eyes always look
Yep.
at you with that same love. And he too is very protective. And had this great internship at New York at this big firm,
Mhm.
and watching him move in New York City. And you're like,
Yeah.
how'd you figure out how to ride the subway?
Right.
We didn't talk about this.
Right.
How'd you get this internship anyway? So it's just a joy to be able to see, and he's very committed to his faith and, Bible and church hopping, as we
Mhm.
say, trying to find the right space
Yeah.
for him. It moves me. It moves my heart
And you
because
did.
I just think, God, how did we get here?
Yeah. Well, tell me. So, at one point in time, they were grade school like my son.
Yeah.
What do you think you did really well to get you to where they are now and y'all's relationship to be what it is? Because I love that little squish of mine. And
Mm-hmm.
I want him to look at me with those mama love eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to keep that bond. And it's very obvious. I loved following along with your adventures on Instagram when you were in New York, but that y'all truly have, yes, your mother and son, but y'all also have a good relationship outside of that. So, what
We
did you
do. I
do
like them.
when you were in my stage that you say, I think I got that right?
So I would have to say how important it is to allow them to grow and make mistakes while we can call them by their nicknames and see these the
Mhm.
squishy bears and the ace of bears and
Mhm.
all the things that we see. It's important that they know that they have a voice and the space to become the boys and men that they're trying to figure out, right? Because
Mhm.
we didn't know, right? When we
No.
were their age, we were
Right.
still trying to figure it out, right? Am I pretty? Am I smart? Am I all these
Yeah.
things?
I think I spent most of my time just hot rolling my hair over and over again.
Right. Right. So I tried to remember what it was like being
Mm.
that age. And then I had to take out the girl from Denver factor
Mm.
and recognize that I'm dealing with two young brothers who are growing up in Atlanta, who were born into a Black presidency,
Mm-hmm.
born into a time when, as they got older, when they first started watching the news and really paying attention, there were things on TV that you and I didn't see as much of, So
Yeah.
George Floyd, Ahmaud
Yeah.
Arbery, Breonna Taylor, they were seeing things that we did not see in the same way.
So
And
tell
what
me,
social media, what role that plays. So I had to be really intentional about what are you watching and what are you seeing,
yeah.
and tell me what it looks like to you as opposed to lecturing them.
Oh, I love that because, sitting here in February 2026, there's a lot of, it hasn't gotten better, the
Mm-hmm.
news and the things that we're seeing.
Yeah.
And I try to shield him from a lot of that, but he inevitably sees it because of the work I do and
Yeah.
hears it. So, and you were in this space as a media mom too. Did you address it? Did you try to shield them? How did you have that conversation? Because I'm really struggling with, I don't want to shield him
Nah, you
because
don't.
I want him to know there are injustices in the world.
Yeah.
But also this is an opportunity. If it makes your heart hurt, this is an opportunity to step up and change things.
You just said it. Take the opportunity. And the best
Mhm.
way to take the opportunity is to ask the question.
Mm.
What did you see, right? So I'll never
Okay.
forget the night that my oldest son came to me, and I don't remember which, what happened that was going on at that moment, but it was sort of in the thick of all of that. But if he's 19 now and he was 11, so he came to me in the middle of the night with tears in his eyes. What do I need to do to keep from getting killed by a white police officer and a Black
Oh
man?
my God.
And so that was him. That was my first time recognizing he sees himself. It's open season is what I heard,
Mm.
right? You got to watch out from the crime in our community, and you got to watch out because your mom and dad are telling you, you know, don't have a hoodie on, hands on the wheel. He wasn't driving at the time, but we were giving all of these instructions about what to do to stay alive.
Because we just want them to be safe.
We wanted them to be safe, but they were incongruent with the instructions that white boys were getting, right? Yeah. So then you learn, well, there's certain things I guess we're not supposed to talk about because they're not hearing the same thing that we're hearing. So what I realized is that I needed to get to the source of the problem, right? When you're in pain, you find the source of the problem, right? We take a little something to knock it out, but what's really going on here? Tell me what you saw that got us here. Well, I saw on the news where, you know, somebody was killed over such and such, or the police were doing this. And then these kids at school asked me if it was true that you covered a story about a man who killed his daughter and put her in a trash can afterwards. And I was like, okay, all these blinds, all these doors are going to have to be wide open because this will be the last time anybody else opens a door for my son.
And tells him
the version. So I'm not going to come home and unload on you and tell you everything that I'm covering. But it taught me, hey, so what the kids saying about, because you know the kids going to talk about
They
your mom.
are. They
If
are.
they're on TV or not. You know, especially around adolescent age. Your mama's,
Yep.
So tell me, what exactly are you seeing? And tell me what's going through your mind. You really can't ask boys how you're feeling.
Okay. That's important to know because we're all emotion
right.
and feeling.
You ask a girl how we feel. We got all the adjectives, pronouns, adverbs, right? A boy is you often going to say, I'm fine.
Yeah,
so you have
I even find that now.
Yeah, I'm good. So you have to give them the agency. Tell me what you saw, right? Because that's a set of instructions. Boys, even though they might not follow them always, and kids, you give them instructions. Men are natural doers, right? Yeah. I need you to tell me, what did the boy say about the story? Because that helps me understand what he was processing.
Whether it was even accurate.
If it was accurate.
Right.
And sadly, it was. So now I'm traumatized over this story, right? Because it was true. But how am I going to process for the little boy who has heard that his mom is doing this, who's trying to imagine the visuals of something so violent? So it's always the reassurance. First of all, I want you to know your daddy and I are going to do our level best to keep you safe. And that God is trying to protect all of us. But sometimes bad people just do horrible things. I would not break eye contact because I knew that he needed to feel secure. But I also knew that he was trying to see how I'm doing. And that took me a minute to figure out that part.
Okay.
Because it was like, well, what did you say, Mom? He's trying to figure out how I told something so horrible to other people.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't want to tell you a whole bunch of bad stuff because you know Mommy doesn't like all that scary, sad stuff anyway. But yeah, there's a guy, and you try to get him to something that they can recognize. So now the reason why I was talking about it on the news is because the police arrested him, and now they're trying to make sure that he can never do it again. Right. That's as simple as it needs to be. We're not going into it. Now he's on trial, and he's facing all these years.
Just age-appropriate truth.
Yeah.
But that's a phrase we use in our house a lot is age-appropriate truth. Even if it's when my mom was still with us, she would say, I can't believe you told him that. I said, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. Because what I promise you is the other version of that.
Right.
And I don't know how deep we can go on the podcast, but the first time one came home and asked, what do they mean when they say BJ? And I was like, well, he ain't got no friends named BJ. So I know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the first thing, whether instead of like, because in your mind, your head is exploding, right?
You're like, why do you even know this?
Right. But instead of asking what my first question was, I said, who said that? And what did they say afterwards, right? Because this is how you're fact finding so that you don't respond to the wrong thing.
So you click into your journalism instincts and start asking questions versus getting into your feelings.
Right. Because who's talking about this around your kids, right?
Right.
You got to make sure A, it's as an adult. B, it's Often it's the kids who have older siblings who are exploring, doing things. Or the other thing you have to be mindful of, because in my mind, I'm always a mandatory reporter too, is something happening to a friend of his that should not be happening.
Right.
Does he have a friend who's being as a victim of a crime? Because now I got to figure out some other stuff too.
Right.
So it's always sort of bite your tongue off for everything you think you wanted to say first. So tell me what else they said when they were talking about a BJ. Or did they point to anything? Show me what they were talking about.
We had an incident similar. He was at piano lessons and his teacher said, oh, you need to hit this note with your third finger. And she said, show me your third finger. And all of a sudden he turns beet red. And my reaction all of a sudden was, do you know what the third finger means? And he said, I just know it's bad. And so then we had a conversation. But what I'm hearing from you is, instead of me having this big reaction first, I should have paused and said, tell me what you know about the third finger.
That's it. Because they're always going to respond. Boys will love us until the end of time. It is the joy of boys. I heard girls sometimes do that too. But I remember I tussled with my mama. I gave my mama a hard time.
My mom a hard time too.
Hard time. So what I know and what I have learned is that they always have to trust you. And if they think, oh, mommy's going to be mad, mom's going to be disappointed. Now, they need to know when they've disappointed you, right? Because they need to know that there's some consequences for acting up. But they also need to know that there are no consequences for accidentally finding themselves in conversations or situations that they didn't know that they may have been walking into. So that they can always tell you, so that if the call comes, and I thank God it hasn't come yet, hey, mom, I'm here and everybody's drunk. And I need to get out of here. So in my mind, because I'm over the top anyway, right? You've known me long. No,
That's why we get along.
That's why we get along.
We're both a little extra.
So I have to turn down the volume on her every single time and say, so what, tell me, just give me a little bit more of what was happening. Was anybody touching? And then when they get shy, you learn to read body language. I mean, and you have a gift of reading that. You got to do that, right? In court all the time. But the versus lets you know that maybe something has happened or been said that they think they can't tell you. Listen, it's safe. You can tell me anything, right? And you got to hold it. You got to hold the stare. You can tell me anything, right? I am here to protect you. And even if you think it's something you're going to get in trouble for, tell me anyway, because what if you don't get in trouble? And you walk out of here, you still got questions. I don't want you to walk out of here with any questions.
Oh, I love that. Because even now, I could tell sometimes when things come up and you can always ask mom and dad, because he does have friends that have older siblings. But I'm like, how do we model that you're not going to get in trouble for asking questions? You're not going to get in trouble for telling the truth. You're not going to get in trouble for being curious. That's part of it. We've told him that a lot. But I think what I'm hearing from you is when those situations come up, I got to turn those emotions down.
Absolutely turn down emotions, because what our boys learn from us is what they also look for or despise in partners in the future, right? And so if mom was gentle and always listening, they're expecting women to have to be that as they get to that age when they start to, look at girls and start to forget who was the first woman who loves them.
I'm not even thinking about that right now.
Don't. But let me tell you this. It happens sooner than you think. I didn't realize my boys were so cute until little girls, hey, Solomon's mom. Hey, Asa's mom. And you're like, hey.
Who you?
Right. Or I'm wearing such and such to the dance, and I've told Solomon that he needs to have a, maroon shirt and khaki pants. And next thing you know, it tracks because you at the store because somebody said now all of a sudden they need maroon pants, maroon shirt, and khaki pants. So, and that was 9 years old. They're still cool. They're friends to this day, and it's a fantastic thing. But that rocked my world because I didn't think at 9 you could have a girl tell you what you should wear to a dance, and that joker was going to listen. I've been trying to tell him for years what to wear to school.
I would be shook if that happened right now. I would be
Well, then
absolutely
get
shook.
ready, because you want your boys to be the type of person who seems attractive and kind and safe
Yeah.
to other people.
Yeah.
And with that
Well,
comes
we're kind of getting into that because when we were going to shopping, and he said, "Oh, I want to pick out my body wash this time." I was like, "You want to
Oh,
pick
that's
out?"
it.
I'm like, "You want to pick
Let me
out
tell
your
you right
body
now, if
body
he's picking
wash?"
out body wash there, she is already, she has a first and last name, baby. You just don't know it yet. When they pick out body wash, rap.
Because then he had two, and he said, "Mom, which one do you like a little more?" And then he was like, "This one's a little sweeter, but this one smells more like," because I think it was like oatmeal cookie, and then like one was coconut or something. And I was like, I mean,
Let me
they're
tell you,
both
she is
about the
cute. She is cute, and she is in a classroom near your sweet son. You just go ahead and wrap your mind around that. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's
because
okay.
it's not about what people think. It's about recognizing, wait a minute, I want to show up in a special way.
And
I
him
don't
part
want
of
my
changing-
armpits to stink
right.
anymore.
He's part, like, as hard as this is to admit, that I'm getting into a phase where I'm no longer raising a boy, but preparing a man.
You are. And you're preparing a man who's got friends who don't have the same kind of restrictions that we have on what they can see. And did you see this girl's boobs?
Yeah.
Did you see this? You know, so if the door is open when they're little for the show me your third finger conversation, then the door will be wide open. Mom, I love it. You know, the first time somebody breaks your son's heart, it brings out a fighter in you did not know exists. But
God help their soul. I mean,
yeah. So, but you want them to come to you. You want to be able to see, you know, because they get quiet, but you want to know the difference between quiet and heartbroken. And if you've always had an open door policy, hey, I can tell something's going on. I wish that you would tell me so that I can try to help you out. And then it never hurts to just sort of brag on your resume, right?
Right.
You know, I helped you out that last time you had this situation.
Right.
You know, I give some pretty good advice. Right. And what about me? If it wasn't me, have you talked to your father about this? Always make sure that they know. What did grandma say?
Yeah.
You know, so that they know, because sometimes they don't want to come to you.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be a given. And that's okay too, because you want there to be other people they trust.
Other grown-ups that.
Because those folks will come and tell you if it's really, really pressing. And if it's not, that person will come. I've seen it with other friends. Hey, I thought you should probably have a conversation about such and such, because it came up in our household.
Yeah.
And it's good. You want that. And that's, you know, not necessarily with everybody don't know your business.
Right.
But there needs to be several safe spaces.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think one thing that has really come to light since my mom has passed is, you know, we call it the mom group chat. We're all on a text. And it was so funny the other night. He said, "So do y'all talk about us?" And I said, "Honestly, not really." I said, "We talk about what theme day is it at school. Hey, don't forget it's Spirit Week.
Yeah.
Don't forget we have this, y'all have a test on Thursday.
Does anybody have a cowboy hat I can borrow? Because this joker just told me we got to go get a cowboy hat."
And he said, "But y'all don't talk about us." I said, "No." I said, "Because everybody's family is doing the best they can, and nobody's comparing each other." I said, "And we are so fortunate that in this mom group, our family group, y'all have all been to school since y'all were about 3.
That's very
I said,
cool.
"And all the moms, we're all rooting for each of y'all."
Yeah.
Then that's not to say if we see y'all doing something dangerous, we're going to stop you. But for the most part, you know, we give you all the benefit of the doubt, and
Until
know
you
that
give us a reason not to.
right, and know that y'all are all trying your best. And we, you know, I'm cheering for that one. I'm cheering for that one. I'm cheering for that one. And you know, we actually don't really talk about you in the group text. And he was like, "What?" And I was like,
"No, the world does not revolve around you." Even though, okay, it does revolve around you.
Right.
But they don't need to know that.
Right. But I mean, I think it's so important that he knows that there's other moms and dads that he can go to, that he feels safe with. So anything you wish you would have done differently?
Yeah.
Or you're like, I could have done this better.
Well, sure. So I will always, and I've been divorced long enough now, more than a decade, will always wonder what it how things would be different if they
Mhm.
saw two parents in the same house for more than just the first few years of their lives.
Yeah.
I'm always going to wonder that. Um, because I just sort of said, well, I'm not really going to be able to date and work and raise children. So the priority was raise the children and work.
Yeah.
So they don't know what it looks like to see a man, hug on me in the kitchen and pat my bottom. They were too young when that was still happening. Right?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I wasn't doing a whole lot of cooking because I
Right.
was live at 5, 6, and 10.
Right.
So I didn't see that anyway.
Right.
Right. So there's part of me that always wonders, gosh, have I messed them up because they didn't get to see what it looked like for a man to love mom?
Yeah.
But we also recognize that there's just times and seasons in relationships, and their father and I just shifted immediately into a very effective co-parenting model. But I guess I wish that they're, not just for the sake of them seeing that, but because how children grow to love is so much a reflection of what they did or did not see at home. And, fortunately, they both are, it doesn't seem like they're like, it's okay. We're good. You guys show up for everything anyway. So we see
And you
what
were
that looks
huggy
like.
with them, affectionate with. Yeah, I know.
You can't get those jokers out. I can't get them off of me, and you can't get them off of me. When
Yeah.
the college student, well, why am I? Everybody knows. Solomon texted me to say I'm coming home this weekend. I was like, okay, so where do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? Okay, where do you want to go? What do you got? So I get excited, and they pretend like they don't like it, but I want them to see what love looks like.
Yeah.
Somebody should be excited that you're on your way home.
Yes.
Somebody should be excited that you walked in the door from work.
And has your special meal, whatever that is, or your dessert in the freezer.
Absolutely. And you should be showing that same, there should be reciprocity.
Yeah.
So I think they have seen that in me. I don't get to meet, everybody. There's a bar. I haven't figured out what it is, but I'll ask, no, not yet. I want to make sure. And so I respect that because it means that they're discerning.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah, it's really good. I guess the other
relationships that move too quick, too fast for me are just always red flags.
Yeah.
Even when I was that age, it's like, what's the rush? Let's pump the brakes.
I think I also wish that I had, we're always going to regret that we didn't get to make it to everything, right? We look at the moms who get to make it and the dads who get to make it to more things than not and wonder what that looked like. And what impact that had, but they later told me it was okay because we knew the work that you were doing was important. And, it's part of how, you do your part in taking care of us.
Yeah.
Right? You call me for gas money. Where are you going, man?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I just transferred it. But they know it also built this sense of trust that mom is always going to be able to provide unless you ask me for something crazy.
Yeah. So what do I need to let go of?
Fear. Fear that our children.
Well, that was a fast one. You had that one lined up.
Yeah, because that's what I had to let go
Yeah.
of, right? When I think about my friends they're friends who can't drive yet, and it's because my boys have been driving age for a minute now. It's because there's fear, and usually it's fear that's been transferred from the parent. You're gonna wreck my car. You're gonna get in a wreck. You're gonna die in a wreck. Something bad's gonna happen. The fear of what can go wrong will block the blessing of all the things that God has prepared to go right if you don't move it out of the way. So teach your son to drive so that he's not in a car in a situation where a bunch of folks are stuck and they can't get out. You know what I mean? Something happens and they don't know how to turn around. Teach your son how to get around their neighborhood without having to use a phone. If your phone dies, what will you do?
Yeah.
I know people don't have maps anymore. My daddy made me learn how to use a map, right? And the little AAA, little trip tip, all the things. But I also had to learn how to get around, how to move around. And I would also say, as it relates to fear, making sure that they understand fear. I used to always say, if you want it more than you fear it, you are bound to get it. Fear is such it's not real, right?
And it will paralyze you.
It will paralyze you. I mean, there's healthy fear, right?
Sure.
Ooh, that looks hot. I probably shouldn't touch it.
Right.
Oh, I'll mess around and find out. That just burned me, right?
Right.
That's good fear. That's the protective kind. But oh my gosh, what if I don't get it right? What if I fail? What if I don't succeed? All of that self-doubt, that self-talk. And because they've got all this social media out there that's telling them that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not strong enough, they're not big enough, they're not cool enough, they're not handsome enough. All of that ends up turning our children into, I say this carefully now, scaredy cats who can't get out of their own way because there are all of these false constructs of what we think success looks like, what we think smart looks like.
Yeah.
So I think those are the big ones for me.
Yeah. So let's talk about a time when you had a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the incident you had with psychogenic stuttering. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, psychogenic stuttering.
Good.
Yes, it's a mouthful. I'd never heard of it until they said it.
Yeah, so
what is that?
tell me what that looks like, which was a very fearful situation. And they, I think, probably your sons benefited because they saw you tackle that fear. So tell us about what it is and how it came about in the story.
So October of 2017, I was covering a really, really, really horrible crime, something that a father had done to his infant child. And I had been covering this case for weeks. And, I got a call from one of the law enforcement officials associated with the case. He said, we've made a big break in the case. And because you have been, gentle with the family and with us, we want to share this with you first. So I was honored, right?
Sure.
But then the competitor in me kicks in, right? Because now you're telling me you've given me an exclusive. I'm thinking, I need to get this on for noon. So once you get the call that you've got an exclusive and you've got two kids who still need to get to two different schools, and the schools are about almost an hour away from where this law enforcement agency, I start going into, it's not panic mode, right? It's just, okay, these are the things that need to get done. A lot of things
that need to happen.
So let me reach out to the station. Let me get these boys to school, and then let me hightail it so that I can get this information, get this interview, and still turn it around, get it edited in time for the top of the noon show, because I wanted to deliver. I wanted to. You're basically saying thank you when you get it right to the law enforcement agency that trusts you, and to your station, and to the public, because it was a real public case and folks were trying to figure out what happened to this baby. So I tend to be kind of type A, OC,
just a little bit.
Schmish. So I'm irritated because I'm missing an exit. Got there late. That just doesn't look good. You're setting your photographer behind because we were meeting there. But we did the interview, and as I listened to what happened, I was disappointed, of course, to hear how the course of this investigation turned out and who was arrested and why. But I'm used to covering really bad things happening to really good people. So I figured I had just processed that. And now it was, how do I get all of this turned around in time for this to be on TV at 11:58, right? Because the news starts at 11:58. It does not start at noon. So we did well with the interview, but by the time we were calling in the soundbite to the producers and letting them know what the name of the person is and sort of the production that happens in the live truck, I stuttering and could not finish a word without stuttering like this. And I just thought, I must be really nervous. I must be really anxious. And I will never forget my beautiful photographer, a brother named Lloyd Alfred from Tallahassee, not Tallahassee, Tallahassee, Alabama. Yes. And he usually called me by my last name. He said, Bruner, I'm not putting you on TV like this. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm just anxious. This will go away by the time we do the live show. We've got to be and that's going on.
Yeah.
And I'm sounding like that, still trying to convince him that that's fine.
Yeah.
That's clearly not fine.
Right.
He's like, plus, Bruni, your face is pulling to the side and you look like, I don't know what you having, a stroke or a heart. I don't know what's happening, but I got to take you to the ER. I'm fighting because I'm trying to be the lead at noon.
Right.
And Cal Calloway, my managing editor, told Lloyd, get the SOT in and get her to the hospital because she's not going to stop fighting with you until you get the SOT in. And we tell her that it's going to be the lead at noon. Yeah. They know me well. Yeah. Just humor me. We're done through. Right. I'm going through all this. If I'm still sounding like this, it still better be the lead at noon.
Right.
So the story's on Lloyd's taking me to the hospital. Lloyd's irritated with me because it was the day that the cell phone bill was due, and this particular carrier would shut it off at 5 if you hadn't paid, So I was like, we got to stop and pay the cell phone bill. He was like, I'm not stopping it. I said, if I'm having a stroke, I need to be able to call my mama and my daddy. So we've got to stop and pay the cell phone bill. And of course, hey, ain't you the news lady? Like all this, and I'm trying to play it off. Thank you for watching. So it's still happening. And I'm like, I don't know why this is still happening. We were the lead at noon. They're going to put the story together. Right. I don't have to worry about this anymore. So we get to the hospital, and long story short, it took a couple of different days, some scans, some brain scans, to determine that nothing neurologically was wrong, that it was psychological, meaning psychogenic stuttering, stress-induced or trauma-induced stuttering. And so I learned that someone passed away, and if I get some jarring news, but now I can sort of almost feel the shift.
Oh.
That's okay. Your brain is processing that in a different way, and it's about to. That's when we learned, and the neurologist taught me, your brain can't stutter and snap at the same time. And sure enough, when I came back to work, I said, listen, I'm going to need some time off. Mm-hmm. Because you can't snap your way through live shots either, because that just makes you look really sassy, right? Like, and then you can't do that.
Especially when you're telling serious stories.
It's right, exactly. Right. So it turned into an opportunity for me to go to speech therapy. I had to go to therapy. I had to go see a psychiatrist because he needed to figure out all the things that were the root. Why was my brain using my voice or my speech, right? Because I didn't lose the voice, but I did lose the ability to speak clearly. And it was because I was carrying too much. I was carrying too much guilt from being a divorcee. I was carrying too much guilt from trying to figure out how do I make sure that my sons still always get to school, onto every bit of homework. And I was running late to pick them up because I was running. So all of that anxiety, I had to learn that there are going to be some things that you just may not be able to control, but you can control your reaction to it. And it was learning in therapy. I went to a whole temple and learned how to do meditation with Buddhists. Like, it was a whole process of learning how to connect to God in a way that I probably really didn't even realize that I wasn't. It was, my prayers now are conversations, right? Like, I can recite the Lord's Prayer, right? But they became conversations. God, what is it that you would have me to do today? God, I'm dealing with fear today. God, I'm dealing with anxiety today. Help me to remember that you've given me all the tools that I need. I just need to maybe sharpen them today. So I really had to learn to let go of guilt, let go of shame, because you never want to say, when you've been in a long marriage, somebody that you've known since you were 19, you don't want to let your friends down.
Yeah.
And
there's
that
a whole ecosystem that's created around that, and traditions, and losing that is grief too.
Yeah, it is. And so I didn't realize that I was supposed to grieve the divorce. I was just grieving these circumstances and how did we get here,
and being the personality you are, a driver. Let me check the box. Let me get this done. Let me get through this day. Let me get through this week. And then then it's all piling up. Yeah.
And then you're covering horrible things too.
Yeah. I saw a meme the other day. It says, I have girlfriends that I'll ask them, what's going on? And they will give me this laundry list of some of the most horrible things you've ever heard. And then she'd say, but otherwise, I'm
I'm
good.
good.
I'm good.
That's exactly what I did with
Right.
the neurologist.
And that's what we do. And one thing that you don't know about me, but I've experienced is, and it's so interesting we share this, is that when I am in a period of high anxiety, I lose my voice. It becomes a whisper. And actually, in the days before we started recording the podcast, the very first episode, I had 2 days where it sounded like this. And
Did you know at that time? Had you put the two and two together?
Like I determined what the pattern is, that, and thankful for therapy too.
Yeah.
I have tools that I can work through, but with mine still, it's one of those things that sometimes it's a day. I think the longest I lost it for was going on 3 weeks. And, you know, I talk a lot for my job too.
Yeah. May I ask, was that since the passing of Sweet Sharon?
No, it has been probably, this started happening when I was in law school.
Ah, okay.
And I feel fine, and people are like, oh, you're sick and you have laryngitis, but like no cold, no flu, no stuffiness. It's just so interesting that we both share that connection of our voice is so powerful, and that's the thing that's affected.
Yeah, I think I really firmly believe, because I remember recording my voice because I wanted to be able to document how I was progressing, because I knew I was going to have to be off the air.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I didn't want my employers to think that they were stressing me out.
Right.
Right? Because as a woman, as a working woman,
the bar for us is a little bit higher.
You don't want to look like you
yeah.
can't do it all,
Right.
because you're supposed to be good at being a divorcee, a mom, and make all these live shots and be exclusive and not
be
crumble.
a soccer practice and have the dinners and
ride 2 wheels in and make it to the last 5 minutes of their performance. So I did not want to look like I could not do my job, because the other thing is, for me, that meant that I can't even keep the job now. Like, for me, it was, I've got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Because I want to go back to storytelling, because even though I understand I used at the time was meeting people on the worst days of their lives, that God gave me a voice to help them have a voice, and a more gentle voice, so that it felt like you could tell the story and I could still get it done, and maybe help someone else in the story. So I knew I had to figure out my way back on air. So I made a deal with God. I always say I made this deal with God. God, if you restore my ability to speak, I promise I will tell the world how important it is to listen to your body, to be obedient to stress, and to share with men and women that it is okay for it to not always work out. Because too many people are hung up looking at whatever hashtag love goals, life goals, my boss lady, all the hashtag, all the things. And all of those things can be true, but it doesn't mean they're always going to be true at the same time. And even if they all are true at the same time, if something falls apart, it doesn't mean something was wrong with you, unless there's some time for some self-reflection. But through all of that, you have to figure out how, because there's always going to be a teachable moment for your sons and your daughters.
So tell me about that, because I've been very open with my son about grieving and what grief looks like. And so your son's had a front row seat for Mama's comeback.
Yeah.
For her taking care of herself, what
that.
Therapy looks like. Tell me, what do you think they saw and learned because you went through that, about finding their own voice in a physical way, but also taking care of themselves?
I think, and I believe that it taught them compassion. It taught them, and they were pretty compassionate kids anyway, right? They were always sort of the ones who kind of stood up when the bullies were coming for other kids, because they've been big boys. But I think it taught them that we should make space for people to admit when things are not okay.
It's okay to not be okay.
That's it. So when I listen to how they give advice on the phone with their friends who are going through it, because they don't even really go into and I know there's some conversations they don't have, right? I'm not in some Pollyanna foolishness world. But when I hear the advice that they do give, it warms my heart, because I can tell they make space for people to have mental health, to crash out, as kids call it, right? And so I think that they learned mom is not perfect, but mom is trying to do her level best. And sometimes we're going to have to step up. But I feel for me, the line is always, let's not put too much on our children because we don't want them to think that they have to protect us
Right.
and care for, well, I don't want to tell you because I don't want you to get stressed
Right.
out.
Right.
So I didn't tell them, all right, I'm off to therapy every time. Right. But if there was a natural way to say, because kids will also process, right? You got to get them out of thinking the divorce was their fault. You got to get them out of thinking the stutterings, but they will process what you trust them with. If you don't just pour it all on the table and say, now eat all of this, eat the stress, eat the tension of the job.
But it's fine to say, you know, this is a tool. I'm going to talk to a friend.
Yeah.
This
so
is
when
a
it comes
tool.
up,
Yeah.
y'all, you know what? You're right. I need to see a therapist.
Yeah.
I need to go see my therapist. And I have to think my speech therapist, her name was Paula at Emory University. And she said, I'd like for your sons to come to the last 2 sessions so that I can teach them some things to help you. And, you know, so 2017, not quite 10 years ago, right? They're 17 and 19 now. So, you know, it puts you, gives you a sense of how young they were, but old enough to be adolescents. So she taught them, when mommy starts stuttering, let's have a funny word that we can say. And I think it was like pickle duck or something, right?
Yeah.
There's some things you cannot say without smiling, right?
Right.
Who's going to say pickle duck and look like you mean mugging something, right?
Right.
So it would break down everything and we would start laughing.
And it would put you in a different headspace, literally.
Without me snapping.
Yeah.
And it gave them power. We can say pickle duck and it makes mommy better, right? So it's so important whenever.
And it's funny. And it's such a kid thing to do. And it also probably very much empowered them.
That's exactly the point.
I
It
love
gave
that.
them a tool. And when you when you turn chores into, why don't you do such and such? What we're really saying is, I'm so stressed out because I can't get all of this done. You guys are big enough now to help me do this. It would help me if you would do this.
Right. We're a team. Let's get this done.
So if you're not yelling, you know, that stuff is still in the dryer. You know those things are still in the dryer. I don't have the bandwidth to fold all these clothes, especially since most of those clothes are yours and you're big enough to fold them. Could you please just go ahead and knock that out for me so I can put mine in the dryer now, or so that I can think about something else?
Right.
Like maybe you don't say it at 10, 11. I was saying that early, right? Because we had a lot to do.
Yeah.
But it empowers them when you explain. And I know there's some folks like, I'm not doing all that explaining. These kids just need to do what I say. Yes, because your children should respect you and have a healthy respect that there are consequences for not following directions in this house.
Sure.
But it is equally empowering to say, but you know, this helps me.
Yeah.
It helps me when you do this so that I'm not fussing. You get sick of me calling your name, right?
Right.
That was years.
Right.
Aren't you sick of me calling your name?
Well, but also too, in the idea that we're raising men, in the fact that we don't want to send these helpless men out into the world to be married to somebody and their spouse is run down because she's doing all the things because they don't know how to put a load of clothes in the dryer.
Yeah.
And everything in life is teamwork.
Yeah.
And the house is a team.
Yeah.
We say that all the time. The house is a team. We got to get the things done. You know, dad does part of the teamwork. Mom has her chores with the teamwork. And my son has his part of the team. And so whether you're at work or at school, I think reiterating that idea of not one person gets it done that's good home raising, as Miss Sharon would say.
Yes, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. And structure,
Yeah.
Ryan, I will say. And, you know, I won't get into spanking versus not spanking, right? Because I think that's a to each his own. But that structure and understanding consequences for behavior. If you don't finish this assignment or you turn it in late, your grade goes down. Your grade goes down. You can't play such and such, or you can't be present for such and such, or you can't go to this party. But it's bigger than that. It's that you're not being as great as God made you. And so part of my prayer with my boys has always been like, I try to make sure every time either they're going out the door, when they was walking up to the school door, just be as great as God made you. Right?
I love that.
Because that's not saying get straight A's. That's not saying get it all right, get it all perfect. It's just a gentle reminder. God has given you so much.
I'm going to change what I say, because every morning before school, I tell him, be kind and try your best.
Don't change that.
But I know, but be as good
but the routine,
great as God made you. I love that.
So throw that in from time to time.
Okay.
But your son has come to expect. I bet you if you went 2 days without saying it, he would say, Mommy, you didn't say that
be kind
routine.
And try your best.
The consistency is so important. So when my boys got old enough and I realized, boy, these boys really know how to pray. I'm not praying over you today. I actually am going to ask you to lead the prayer today and letting them lead the prayer and then, drive off to school, right? Especially when they first start driving, right? Because you know what else you learn about when you ask your children to lead a prayer? What's on their mind.
That's true.
What's scaring them, what they're worried about, what's going on with their friends, and that they're becoming empaths. God, please be with those who don't have a home to go to or are having a hard time feeling you the way I do. It gives you so much insight, and it is an opportunity to praise God again.
Yeah.
And because for me, that's very important, because I didn't always grow up in that kind of a setting where there was a prayer every single day, and people kind of joke. I think everybody thinks I'm sort of like a church lady and I'm on the board of the church, but I'm like, this has been an evolution for me too,
Yeah.
But I think if you make your home the place where kids know that they can come home, talk about almost everything. And if it's not me, okay, well then go talk to your Uncle so-and-so. But there are still standards to having this name.
Yeah.
And not just our last name, right?
Right.
But the name that we gave you. We spent a long time in that hospital before the lady came in, like, have y'all decided yet? Because you're about to get, put out of here.
Right.
And so we named our son, and they're going to be mad, but it's out there. Solomon Akinyele Washington. Akinyele is a West African name that means one who brings honor to his home. Right?
Beautiful.
Solomon, the king, the wise one, making Solomonic decisions. But you're kind of a flawed character, right?
Right.
You had some issues.
Right.
And we know, right? But all the great things, but God still uses you, right? So if your name is wise king who brings honor to his home, you're carrying that not as a cross, but as a, man, I'm supposed to live up to this.
Yeah.
Here's the bar. And all the things that come with it. With Asa, we couldn't even figure out which middle name, so he ended up with two, poor child. He got the longest name, right? So it's Asa Allende Hassani Washington, a healer who came after we prayed, right? So it's how you set a foundation, right? They train them up. They're going to go out there and do some stuff. This is not the New Living Translation, right? They're going to get out there and they're going to do some stuff, but they're going to come back home to how you train them. And so if you train them that communication is important, they'll go out into the world, they'll communicate effectively. And when they come up short, they'll remember this isn't in line with how I talk to my friends or talk to a girl or a woman.
Yeah.
Structure, there are consequences. The folks that you roll with, it's going to be iron sharpens iron for real.
Yep.
It's not, if you're the smartest one in your crew, you got a problem with your crew.
Exactly.
You need to find a sharper crew.
It's easier for somebody to pull you down than for you to pull them up.
Yeah. And so
that whole image of standing on a chair, I remember they taught in church growing up, somebody would stand on a chair and it's real easy for them to pull you off the chair, but it's real hard for you to pull them up. I
think it gives you an opportunity to teach lessons and not in classism or elitism, right? You don't know what's going on in everyone's homes. So
everybody's family's different.
Be sympathetic. So the kid who got in trouble for vaping at school, no, he shouldn't have had a vape. No, but you don't know what's going on in his family's home that he ended up bringing a vape to school, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he thought it was cool, but maybe he's stressed out, and everybody in his house, that's how they manage. Yeah. They use something. So that's your opportunity when he comes back from suspension, not to be the kid who's like, you got in trouble, but hey, man, I'm glad you back. Yeah. Let me know if I can, you know what I mean? There are always teachable moments that keep us from being, divisive, but still enforce here's what's supposed to happen in this house.
Right.
Don't you let me get a call that you were vaping at school.
Yeah.
Without being judgmental.
There will be a consequence
There will
in our
be
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love to say every family's different. That may work for them, but that doesn't work in our house.
Yeah, you cannot call me.
Yeah.
Right. Anything other than your friends can't call me Portia.
Yeah.
And I'm going to correct them. And so you can tell them, or I can, but you've got to make sure that they understand this is why we are, and then eventually it's going to be fantastic. They're going to get to a certain age and they're going to come and they're going to be like, oh, thank you. Thank you for being so strict. You and Dad got on our nerves, but it happens and it comes.
Yeah.
And
he tried out a couple of months back. He tried out bro on me. I was in the kitchen and it was like a record scratched in my brain. I was like, I'm sorry, excuse me. He's like, Mom. I meant Mom. I was like,
right.
That didn't really sound like Mom.
It didn't sound like Mom?
But I'm going to let it pass.
But I'm not going to forget. And you know what I did when I got bruh? I said, listen, I appreciate that means you think that I'm super cool. Because I am cool.
Right.
But you can't call me bruh. But then I went and I had a t-shirt made. And it says, bruh, mommy, mama, mother.
Yeah.
Right. And in no particular order, but
right.
I'm mom.
Yeah.
And so it became sort of a joke.
Yeah.
But it also, the key there was,
I just like looked at him.
That means, you can't call me bruh, but I'm sure glad you feel like I'm one of the bruhs.
Yeah.
Because I want you to keep talking to me like I'm one of the bruhs.
Right.
And maybe I'll give you a bruh pass every once in a while. I used to give them cuss passes sometimes, right?
Oh, yeah, we have those in our house.
But you have to understand what the rules of engagement are and how you carry yourself at all times. Yeah. So you can't call me bruh at the Kroger because all the folks going to think, how you raising your kids?
Right.
But it's always mom. And the friends, you got to call me Miss Portia.
Yeah, I love that. And I love today that thank you so much for showing me how to use my voice better to be a better mom. Like, I'm so thankful and blessed that you're in my life. And your boys are blessed that they had a mom who gave them voice, that gave them words, that gave them loving wisdom and showed them how to use their voice.
Well, and I know it's time to go, so I'm going to just say quickly. Well, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. And I just want to remind you that your mother downloaded everything that you are going to need. Every last thing. There's some tools you haven't had a chance to pull out the toolkit yet. But when you pull it out that first time, you're going to be like, oh, this is how you use it. Because you watched her use it. You remember how it made you feel when she said or did. So don't worry. God has given you all the gifts you need. And children are so durable and so resilient. So when we make a mistake, that same look that they had when we were nursing them, that same look is what they're going to have. Yeah. Like, I trust you, Mom. Yeah. So trust yourself. I had to realize my kids really trust me. So why am I doubting myself? Yeah. God has given me these blessings. So I ain't killed them yet, right? I did all the things, and their dad did all the things. They're going to be okay. But I got to tell you don't overthink it. Just trust that God has given you.
You don't think I overthink things, do you?
Not at all. A whole attorney.
So before we go, I have my fabulous 5 questions.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We've just been yapping.
We have been, but that's okay. This has been so helpful. And I know my entire mom group friend and all the moms and everybody on Instagram, they are going to eat this episode up. It's I'm
grateful.
It's one of my favorites so far.
Oh, I'm grateful.
So tell me, what's a life lesson that your mom, your grandma, or some other wise woman said to you that you think about a lot?
My mother always made it very clear because my mother, my parents divorced when I was young as well. And I love my dad and I love my mom. So but mama raised me. Everything you like about me, my mama. Everything that's sassy about me, my mama. And my mother said when she sent me off to college, 1,700 miles away from home, going from Denver to DC, don't do anything that you have to explain to me, to your grandmother, to just protect your name, protect your credibility. And
that's gonna sit with you in the club at 2 a.m. on a
right,
Saturday.
Right, exactly.
That is so good.
So I went, and I was kind of a nerd. Like, I didn't even really start partying too tough
Right.
until junior year, because I kept thinking, I don't want to shame my mother.
Yeah.
And it was, and don't come back with a husband or a baby. You come back with a degree, right? Because she was like,
Right, but
"You
that
got a mission."
explaining really kind of umbrellas those two big things too.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Which is ironic, because I met my husband at Howard.
Right.
But I didn't have the baby till I was 33, right?
Right.
So it was just very clear. You've got a lot of gifts, and you have a story to tell, and you've got a lot of things to do with your life. Don't do anything, if you can avoid it, that it's going to be something that you were going to have to explain your way out of, that stops you from getting to do all of the things that you say you want to do.
Yeah.
And so
so
I
good.
try to be mindful of that. And it's just the mom, right? Not
Yeah.
the dad. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
When life gets loud, besides caffeine and maybe screaming in the car, what do you turn to? I think I know the answer.
Okay. So when life gets really loud,
Yeah.
there's a rotation, right?
Yep.
There's meditation, right?
Okay.
Because if things get too loud and I get too stressed, I'm going to start stuttering, right?
Okay.
My team has never seen me stutter in 4 years of the Portia show, and I plan to make sure that that's the case. So I have to reset. And so one of the things my speech therapist taught me was meditating, right?
Okay.
So my brain knows that when I go like this with my hands, we're calming down and everything, right? And really intentional breathing. So sometimes I'll do it on the set, like if a guest is acting and things are going crazy, there's a production issue and I'm starting to get anxious because I'm looking at the clock. But I pretend like I'm like, so.
Yeah.
But my brain goes, okay, we're calming down. The other is old school hip hop, 90s hip hop. I can't even sing the lyrics.
That's what I used to study to in law school, because I could turn it on and the beat would get me
Yeah.
in a zone to study.
Yeah. Or gospel, right? But it's going to be like the older, like contemporary gospel, right? So Be Optimistic by Sounds of Blackness and Ann Nesby. And as long as you keep, right? And so you can catch me on any given day at a red light singing to the top of my lungs. And I cannot sing a lick, but I have to emote.
Yeah.
Because there's so much inside of me. So those are my 3 default: meditation, old school hip hop, and gospel.
The sacred thing in your house that if you're running out, you're going to grab.
Photo albums. Wait, are my kids there? Well,
Well,
those jokers are big and they run faster.
Outside of kids.
The photo albums. The photo albums for sure.
If you're asking God a question and you can get an answer, what are you going to ask him? And it can be a big question, or it could just be a question for today.
I watched to the end of the podcast thinking I was going to remember all this. Forgot about this one. What would I ask God for?
What do you want to know?
What do I want to know? I think I want to know. Part of me wants to cheat and know how this ends. Part of me kind of wants to know, like, will my boys find women who love them and love God as much as they love God? Will they be able to function? I know they're going to be good on the good days, but after their father and I are gone, will they be able to manage when things don't go right? When their child comes to the room and says, "What do I do to keep from getting killed?" What is a BJ? Like, will they be able to? How will they handle that?
Yeah.
Because we don't get 100 years, not all of us, right? Some of us do, but I would just like to know that they get. If it's not, there's a happy ending, right? But it's not about happy, happy, joy, joy. Do they get peace? Do they get peace of mind and a sense of safety?
Yeah. I love that. So,
And maybe will I ever remarry? Or at least find someone who likes my crazy behind. But I'm okay with that space too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's meant to be.
If it's meant to be, it will be. But if it's not, I'll still be crazy and out here, telling stories for a living. And chasing my sons around until their wives are like,
having everybody here.
We didn't talk about your mom.
Yeah. So, what's a phrase or quote you love that you come back to a lot? It can even be a swear word if you want to, or just something you say a lot.
Well, it's Lent, right? So I gave up cussing. But when I was 18, no, I'm sorry, 2021, I read Ian Levin's Acts of Faith.
Mhm.
And I was really scared when I first got out of college because I wasn't sure where I was going to land and what I was going to exactly be doing. Would I be on air? Would I be a producer? Was I pretty enough? Was my hair straight? And all the things, right?
Yeah.
And so she has this phrase in her book, and it was, when you come to the end of all the light that you know, faith is knowing one of two things is going to happen. One, there'll be something for you to stand on, or two, you will learn how to fly. Have faith. So when I get spiraling on how am I going to be able to get all these things right, I just have to remember the faith and check God's resume, right?
Yeah.
And check what God has put on our resume.
Yeah.
So far, it's working.
Yeah.
So have
100% of
faith
the time it's
that I'm
worked
going to
out.
be able to
Yeah.
stand or fly.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
appreciate you
Ryan.
for being here. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate that. I know that I can call you and ask you
Sure.
questions, and you're gonna give me loving, godly wisdom. And I
Absolutely.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for these
Thank you so
kind of
much.
conversations.
Well, that's it for today. You can ache for who you were before it all changed and still become someone new. Grief and growth sit at the table, often passing notes when we're not looking. This tea, this time, this space is part of your healing, and it's part of mine too. You're not broken, you're just brewing. And besties, we do not gatekeep around here. If you heard something today that filled your cup, tag a friend, follow, and come back next Tuesday. Your seat at the table will be waiting. Follow along on Instagram at How Do I Do This Pod and on YouTube at How Do I Do This Pod. DM me on Instagram and tell me what kind of grief you're holding right now. Seriously, I'll read every one and will probably be the person to respond back. Tell me what you have tried that you think might help me. I'm open to trying anything that's not illegal. Your story might find its way into one of our future episodes.